choose him, nor will he be guided by them, for he prefers to decide for himself on all important topics. As Lincoln took charge of his administration more forcefully, he won increased respect from Congress. When that body met in December, according to Samuel Bowles, editor of the influential Springfield, Massachusetts Republican, many of his old political friends treated him with marked neglect and discourtesy. But in late March, Bowles reported from Washington that all are hastening to do him reverence. His integrity, his wisdom, his caution, his strength as a man and a statesman are warmly admitted on all hands, and he has, more than any other man in the nation, the respect and confidence of Congress. By the spring, the public, too, had come to share that feeling. The confidence felt by all loyal men in the integrity and wisdom of President Lincoln forms one of the most marked and hopeful features of the existing political condition of our country, observed the Philadelphia Press. Even those who do not approve all his acts accord him perfect rectitude of purpose and fervent patriotism. The Providence Journal was pleased that Lincoln was not merely the nominal executive of our government, but had become really the president. He has the reins in his own hands. Democratic Judge Edwards Pierpont of New York remarked that Lincoln is rising above all exterior influence and learning to depend upon himself and taking his own judgment, and that Seward even has little influence with him now. Somewhat condescendingly, the fastidious Pierpont added, "He is greater than he seems. His manners are so against him, but he is great from being so good, so conscientious." If Lincoln's manners offended Pierpont, the voters found them to their liking. Poor noted that the president will sometimes throw his legs upon the table, as if in his law office in Springfield, and illustrate his position by a good story, or by a colloquial expression drawn from the mother wit and humor of the prairie people, but this pleasant manner endears him the more to the great mass of those who elected him. Also endearing Lincoln to his constituents was his patience in dealing with advisers and critics. "Mr. Lincoln is a good listener," reported the New York Commercial Advertiser. "He will patiently hear any man, unless he is reminded of an anecdote, which he at once relates, and he thus patiently gathers tribute from all, often submitting to severe criticisms from tried friends." One of those friends, his former colleague in Congress, Truman Smith, grumbled that the amiable president seems to be averse to hurting anybody, and I shall not be surprised if the traitors on submission secure to themselves the benefit of a general amnesty. In late January, a New Yorker declared that Lincoln, Stanton, and McClellan are not only the popular favorites of the hour, but the hope of all thoughtful and patriotic men. Lincoln's greater assertiveness was especially appreciated by leaders from his own region. When he asked a Western governor, "Will the people of the West sustain the government through the onerous taxation which must be imposed upon them?" he received an emphatic response. "They will endure anything if they are convinced that they have got a government." In February, Illinois Congressman William Kellogg approvingly reported that Lincoln is determined to move on to the accomplishment of the great work before him, firmly and surely. Lincoln did not burn with a desire to wield power, but his keen sense of responsibility led him to perform his duties conscientiously, onerous though he found them to be. He said of the presidency, "It is a big job. The country little knows how big." And he told an Illinois friend, "This getting the nomination for president and being elected is all very pleasant to a man's ambition, but to be the president and to meet the responsibilities and discharge the duties of the office in times like these is anything but pleasant. I would gladly, if I could, take my neck from the yoke and go home with you to Springfield and live as I used to, in peace with my friends, rather than to endure this harassing kind of life." In exercising his newfound assertiveness, Lincoln continued to face a daunting challenge in McClellan. Getting him to move proved as difficult as ever. Among the general's chief defects,